Did you know that you could use your laser engraver to cut out a really cool edge profile that follows a design like this? You can either cut it out, or you can just simply make a score line and use a bandsaw or another tool like a jigsaw to cut it out later. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I made this cutting board and what processes I went through to be able to cut and engrave this design on this cutting board. So for this project, I'm going to use this beech that I've glued up, and you can see I've just took just some strips of it and glued it together to make a panel. You can see, hopefully you can tell on the camera, it's pretty uneven, so I'm going to use my thickness planer here to bring all this down to an even flat surface on both sides. And so I'm just set up with my thickness planer and dust collector. So we'll run this through a few passes and get us a good, nice, smooth surface. So on this part, my microphone messed up, so it had no audio, but basically what I just kept doing is I would run this through the thickness planer and got it down to a good, smooth, even surface. You can see there in the lot, you can tell I've got a little bit of snap on the end of the board, so I'm gonna need to take and sand this down with my belt sander and everything, but thickness planer does a great job of getting it, to a really smooth surface. So again, just using the belt sander to knock off a good, top layer, get this roughed in, and then I went to the palm sander and used a finer grit sandpaper and got it smoothed over. All right, so now I've got the piece of wood that we've thickness planed, and we've sanded it down, got it prepared for cutting out in the machine. Now my machine's got a 20-watt laser on it. Probably not going to be able to cut all the way through it, but I'm going to try. If it doesn't, I'll show you the technique you can use. If you have a 20-watt or a 10-watt laser, you can simply just mark the perimeter and then cut it out with another tool like a bandsaw or a jigsaw, and then sand it down to get it down to your smooth edges and get everything exactly how you want it. Well, the laser didn't get quite all the way through. I didn't expect it to. This is that beech I mentioned, and it's really, really hard wood. So it's just really dense and hard for that laser to cut through. But it did get a good score line all the way around the cutting board. So what I'm going to do now is go to the bandsaw and go around and cut most all of this. Cut really close to the line, but not on the line. And what I'll do after I get all of it cut out is go around it with a spindle sander and sand down to that line, and it'll look really good. So let's go on the bandsaw here and cut out our cutting board. right there is about how far down the laser actually was able to cut. Alright, so that's pretty good. We got everything close to the line, and what I'm going to do next is we'll get out the spindle sander and we'll grind everything down good and even with those lines, and it'll look really good on the outside. So next I set up my drill press with a Forstner bit. It's about 1 inch in diameter, and cut out that hole, and then we'll clean that up on the spindle sander in just a little bit. So the next step is to set up with this oscillating spindle sander. We're going to use it to get all the flat edges and maybe these round parts sanded down to my line. And then I'll switch it out with some of these skinnier spindles and work my way around these smaller, fine, detailed parts. And probably what I'll have to do is take a chisel and get into these corners in the very end. But just to get all the main part of it down, we'll use one of these smaller spindles. So we'll start off with this larger flat surface and get all of it first. So there it is, the finished product. I thought it turned out pretty well, and I hope this gives you some ideas of how you could use your laser to help with designs that you're going to use for woodworking. Thanks for watching, and I hope you come back and watch some of the other videos.